Erurukamano. Thank you so much.
All right. Yeah, so a lot has been said about James William. Um, I had an opportunity to have a great man in my life. And like my youngest uncle Caleb and my brother Mika, I also had a chance to be educated by James William in primary school. In fact, he was my class teacher in Kasagam Primary School. And most of the things that my siblings have talked about are all in the formation, which means they are all true. Now, beyond that, being my teacher and being my life coach, James William, my dad, was also my mentor. It's not easy to get all of this package in one man. A lot of us have dads who are not mentors, who are not even their life coaches, they simply have fathers. And I feel very privileged and fortunate that I had all of these three packages in one man, James William. That was our favorite name for him. Now, for that reason, I think that is a void that will not be easily filled for now, maybe with time. But we are praying for the Almighty God to give us that strength so that we're able to overcome that. Now, I know there's a lot of questions that are lingering about what may have gone wrong in the life of James William. A lot has been said about him reaching 70 and therefore he was having a bonus of those number of years, but that's not the issue. The issue here is probably he had a lot more years to live in accordance with the will of God. But we have since acknowledged and accepted that it is God who gives and takes away life. And it's not a human being. It's not about any human being. If it is a matter of trying everything we could do to save his life, trust me, this family and a lot of our friends and relatives did whatever we could do, to make him live for a few more years. In a number of cases, at the peak of his sickness, whenever I got a phone call in the morning and I saw it was either Mom or Mika, the next thing I was to do was to make an about turn. If I was heading out of town, I first of all make an about turn before I even listen to that phone call. Because in my mind, it was about, well, there's another emergency here, and we need to rush that to hospital. And in many cases, that was the thing. If I got a phone call from Mom or Mika, trust me, the next thing was to just postpone whatever I was doing and then just rush down there with the car. In many, many occasions, let me just cite one. There's a day Mom called me, I think it's around morning hours, and she sounded a little bit depressed. And she was like, Winston, your dad wants to see you. And then I asked her, what is the matter, Mom? And then she was like, well, he looks like he's handing over. So I asked her, what is he handing over? What exactly is he handing over? And then she told me that he has gotten his file. He had a file that had confidential documents well kept in the bedroom. And so she told me that, well, he is going through this file and it looks like there's something that he wants to disclose to you. And then I stopped whatever I was doing, and I rushed there. But interestingly, when I reached there, he was looking very normal. And so I did not ask mom, or I did not ask him about that issue of handing over. So I just went straight to him and asked him that. So, and he was like, well, I'm just fine. I have no problem. Nikamuliza, you are sure? You are not feeling any, funny thing in you? And he was like, well, don't worry about that. I'm fine. Just go back and do whatever you are doing. Yeah, so I went back. And so there are many, many instances that we could count. So what happened was, like, from 2021, he had this issue of some severe anemia that caused him to fall down, and he fell on his head. And then we rushed him to hospital, and then one step led to the next one, but then he was treated out of that. And for almost a span of 2 years, he was very okay. But then this issue came back again early of last year, and we were like, okay, but the matter was sorted. What is it again? So when we went back to the hospital, we were told that, it looks like the doctor that did this did not diagnose this thing in full. And so we asked the doctor, so what are you telling us? Why don't you diagnose it in full? You are a professional, you are a specialist. Instead of telling us that, you do it. And so the one process led to the other, and then we're told, well, he had another issue with what is called the endoscopic bleeding, somewhere from here up to the stomach. And so we did all we did, and then at the climax of that, we had what is called an endoscopic banding. That is meant to block any part that bleeds. It's some expensive process, but we did not mind about money at that time. And so that one was done. But then after a while, we realized that every time we took him back to hospital, there was always this issue of HB having come down. So we leave hospital when he had like an HB of around 8, level of 8. After some time, when you go back, then we see again it's either 4 or 3 point something. And so that was sort of the routine, and then we did a lot of transfusions, and as we were advised by the specialists. So what I'm saying here in simple terms is that we did what we could do for James William. But like I said before, it is the Almighty God who decides how your life goes. If it is your time, and it is your appointed date, and the appointed minute, it will not pass even 1 minute. I'm glad that even on his day that he took his last breath, we were all around him. And I think that was the saddest moment. And I don't think we've had, such a sad span of about 5 minutes that you see really what is going on there, and how he had his last breath. But we shall leave that to the Almighty God. I think what I do know, like my Uncle Fanuel, Elder Fanuel confirmed, James was a good man, and his morals, his attitude, his behavior, his social standing, I think all will affirm that he is somewhere resting with the angels. We do not want to believe anything otherwise, because we knew him to be a good man, with the moral standing in the society. Even those who worked with him, you did not hear of anything corrupt, any corrupt issues about him. I think they can attest to that. He wasn't a man that would dirtify his hand in, corrupt deals or these undercut things. So for that, we believe that we have a role model. Us as the family, we have been fortunate, and we want to ensure that that is something that we will emulate, ever and ever. Because we also want to pass this kind of rare traits and rare attributes, to our generations going down. So with that, let me say, may Dad rest in eternal peace until we meet again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, brothers, for wonderful messages. Now, I would like to, just a moment. Anyway.